Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at how to solve linear equations. So the first thing, a linear equation is an equation that only has one variable, and it's also to the first power. Linear, it comes from the word line, so if we were to graph these equations, it could be represented by a line. So I laid out some steps as to how to solve these types of equations. And I want to go through an example following these steps. So the first one, simplify the algebraic expressions on each side. So simplifying, that includes things like the distributive property, combining like terms, things like that. Second step, collect all the variable terms on one side and all the numerical terms on the other. So what that means is all my terms that have a variable in them, I want them all on the same side of the equal sign so I can combine them together. Then everything that doesn't have a variable, so all my constants, all my numerical terms, we'll put those on the other side and combine them together. So the third step, isolate the variable. What that means is we want to get down to just 1 times that variable. So if my variable is x, I just want x all by itself on one side of the equal sign. We can do that by multiplying or dividing. And then the last step is we should always check our solution to make sure that we do have the correct thing. So let's use those steps in an example. So 2 times the quantity x minus 3 minus 17, and that is equal to 13 minus 3 times x plus 2. So our first step is to simplify the expressions on each side. So I'm just going to focus on my left-hand side and my right-hand side by themselves. So to simplify, first we need to use our distributive property. So I'm going to distribute the 2. So we have 2 times x. And then if I distribute the 2 to the negative 3, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And we still have our negative 17. On the other side of the equal sign, this 13 will stay as is. And then I'm going to distribute a negative 3. So I'm going to think about this like it's plus a minus 3. And I'm going to connect that negative with the 3. So I distribute the negative to both parts. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then negative 3 times 2, we get negative 6. Now we're not quite done simplifying on each side. I need to combine like terms first. So on the left-hand side, I can combine negative 6 and 17. So that's going to end up with 2x and then negative 6 minus another 17. It's going to be minus 23. On the other side of the equal sign, I have 2 numbers we can combine together. So positive 13 minus 6, we end up with 7. And that takes care of the first step. Now the second step is we want to collect all of our variable terms on one side and all our numerical terms on the other. And it doesn't matter which way I go. So I can move the 3x over to the left, or I can move the 2x over to the right. Either way will work. I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So this is my addition property of equality. The addition property of equality says I can add the same thing to both sides of my equation, and it's like maintaining that balance. So this is an equivalent expression. It's an equivalent equation. I'm not changing the value of anything because I'm maintaining that balance. So adding those together, we get 5x, and we still have the minus 23. And now on this right-hand side, negative 3x and positive 3x, that gives me 0. So that's why I added the 3x. I wanted those to cancel out. I want all the numerical terms on the other side, so we'll add 23. Same idea. So adding 23, that gives me 0 on the left side. And then over here on the right side, I can combine those terms together, and I get 30. So that takes care of step 2. Step 3, we need to isolate the variable. So right now I have 5 times x. I want this to be just 1x. So I need to think inverse operations here. So if I'm multiplying by 5, to undo that, we want to divide by 5, since multiplication and division are inverse operations. So dividing both sides by 5, we get our final answer. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So there we go. And then our last step is we should double check this. So just up above, I'm going to write this out. And really quickly, let's check to see if we're right. So instead of x, I'll substitute in my 6. And hopefully we end up with the same thing on both sides of the equal sign. So 13 and then minus 3 times 6 plus 2. So what do we have? We have 2 times 3 minus 17, which is 6 minus 17, which is negative 11. And then here on the other side, this is going to be 13 minus 3 times 8. And it's 13 minus 24, which is also negative 11. So that checks out. We end up with negative 11 on both sides, so we were right.